Episode 19. We are so close to the end. I don't want it to end this season, not the show. Season 10 has been confirmed. Don't worry, guys. So this episode is called Alexis Annie, or oh god, I forgot the episode. I forgot to write down the title. So I think it's Alex and Alexis Annie. It's a combination of those names. It was a really good episode, actually. I wasn't too sure of what I thought about it, what I was going to think about it. I wasn't overly excited. I was sort of like, I don't know, this looks kind of okay, but not anything too special. But actually, I did really like it, and it was interesting. I was a bit worried that it was going to be a bit like the Garth episode with the werewolf family, but it wasn't. It was totally different. So we start off, a girl being taken into a police cell, and she's not talking or anything. And then a guy gets in, and he gets into the cell, and he comes towards her, and he's got his fangs out, he's a vampire. And then suddenly Jody Mills turns up and gets his head off. It turns out this girl has actually she's been reported as abducted years ago when she was a kid, and her name was Annie Jones. But when they talk to her, she keeps saying she's Alex. And so, Sam and Dean come into town, and they see this girl, and they're talking to her, and they're finding out that she has pretty much been raised by vampires, and she's a blood slave, and they only really kept her as a kid so they can feed her, so they can feed from her. But they do feed her too, otherwise she'd die of starvation. She has like a massive bite mark on her neck that's sort of been re-established all the time because they've bitten her so much. She is very defensive about her family, but it turns out she was trying to run away, and she was saying that she wanted to move on. There was a lot of reference to Jodie's, her son who came back from the dead and then started eating her husband, so she basically lost her whole family, in sort of reference to with Annie and how she was taking Annie in, Alex, and looking after her, and it was sort of to fill that hole that's been missing for so long, and that made me really sad. But yeah, there was the mother of the family who was really protective of her and started to turn her, and while Sam and Dean was unconscious, and Sam was being drained of blood. I'll come back to that a bit later, because, I think Jodie has basically taken her in by the end, so I don't know if she'll be back when Jodie comes back, or if Jodie comes back, or whatever. But, Sam and Dean were very sceptical, and they were basically saying, we have to kill this girl. And they find out that she was actually luring, dodgy guys to them so they could eat them, drink their blood. And that was how they were feeding. She was just sort of leading people astray. And so, Dean and Sam were getting a bit wary of that, and Dean was totally in it for killing her, the whole family. But and Jodie was sort of kept faith in her, and it turned out that actually she didn't want to be a vampire, and she didn't want all this, and so she ended up giving her mother a thing of dead man's blood, and then Jodie killed her. So yeah, I think it was quite an interesting story. It was quite different, and yeah, it was a good filler episode. Yeah, I've described that really, really quickly. This has been filmed a day after I've seen the episode, so it's not fresh in my mind, really. But I remember the gist of it. My likes was just the fact that Jodie's back. I think I said that in the last episode Jodie was in, that she was back. Because Jodie being back is a good thing. I really do like Sheriff Mills. I just wanted to point out that I actually had the same played as Sam. Well, it's not the same. It's very similar played to Sam, and it was amazing, and I was really happy, and I was like, look, we match. Kind of. No. I liked the quotes, they grow old so fast, when Sam and Dean were referring to Jodie killing the vampire, and also takes vamps down like a horse trank, because horses? I like horses. Sam smacking vamps with a spade, smiley face. That was really creepy, because, You don't often think, here's a vampire, I'm gonna smack it with a spade. So I'm, A star for creativeness. This is such a terrible review. Oh my god. And I liked Protective Jodie and how protective she was of Alex/Annie, and how, she was protecting her, and while Dean and Sam kept saying, no, kill her, because she's bad. She's bad. She's been raised by vampires. They've completely turned her against, normality. But they were wrong. And although, yes, she was helping them feed initially, she turned out to not want that so much. And, I really liked that. And I liked how they made reference to her son and how she was looking after her because, she'd been ignoring all this time that she was just missing her son a lot. And her husband, of course. I wrote the story because I just liked it, and me being an ex-Twilight fan, I just saw so much sort of Twilight in there. I just imagined it as a twisted version of Twilight. So, Bella was kidnapped as a kid by Esme, and there were loads of brothers. There was no Alice, there was no Rosalie, and there was no Carlisle, but you can ignore that. And there's no Edward, but there were just loads of brothers, and it was about a vampire who was changing other people into vampires as a family. And then there was a human person that was joining them, and so it kind of reminded me of Twilight, apart from the fact that there was no Carlisle or Edward or Rosalie or Alice. But shut up. Also, it's a twisted version of Twilight with added Winchester. I think Twilight mixed with Supernatural would be hilarious, I think. Right after Dean saved Sam after he was almost drained of blood, pretty much, Sam was just like, Dean, and Sam, I just loved it when Dean was like, yeah, I know, you wouldn't have done the same for me, because he's still kind of pissed about the whole, if you were in dying, I would let you die kind of thing. Oh, Dean. You. I put this in the likes, but it's also kind of in the dislikes, but, Supernatural does have these sometimes. The little continuity error, there wasn't really explanation, it could have been a deleted scene, or it could just be that you presume what happened. It was where, so Sam was literally, he had a wire in his arm, a tube in his arm, that was basically draining him of blood, and he was pretty and he was pretty much deading, and all the way around the house after Dean had saved him, he was practically carrying him, because he was really weak. Next scene, once it was all over, he was just walking away like nothing happened. And, I don't know if there was a scene that showed him, have some biscuits and, get the blood sugar levels up, or having a blood transfusion. Or my mum's suggestion, maybe they had some blood in the car and they did a sort of DIY blood transfusion. I'm game for that. If that's what happened, then fair enough. Well done, Mother. You're very clever. They were probably just letting, they were probably just going to wait for us to assume, oh, well, they did something about it. Dislikes. Ooey, decapitation times 5 billion. There was a lot of decapitation, and it was kind of yucky. I wasn't expecting not to see any. I mean, it's a vampire episode, and the vampires have to get decapitated, but, it just makes you, ugh. Jodie's family photos made me sad, because, she really does miss her kids, her kid and her husband, even if she doesn't talk about it, and it just, it sort of paid homage to the past episodes, the first episode she was in, where her kid was sad times. Shredding bodies, ew, because that was disgusting, putting bodies through a wood chipper thingy to destroy the evidence, and I was just like, ugh. I do watch this in the morning when I'm eating my breakfast, do keep that in mind. Mama annoys me. The character that I referred to as Esme, because she was the mother of the vampire family, she just annoyed me, because it was just oh, well, I'm just gonna have to change now, blah, 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 I've changed you, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you want your mama, and it's just shut up. I suppose that's the point, you're not really supposed to like her, because she sort of, twisted this kid, and kidnapped him since she was a baby, but, well, child, but, yeah, I didn't like her. And stop hurting Sammy, please. Please stop hurting Sammy. Though, I would say, actually, that they've, the hurting of the Sammy has sort of eased out a little bit. It was quite, you know, it's quite dominant at the start when he was, you know, pretty much dead. And then as it goes on, it's been less and less hurty Sammy, but I don't like it when they hurty Sammy, so please stop hurty Sammy! And please stop hurty Dean too. What am I doing with my nose? Did I cry? I did not. I thought I might have got teary at the whole thing about Jodie's son, but I didn't. My star of the show is gonna shock you guys. Like, it's not Jensen, and it's not Jared. It's Kim Rhodes, because she's awesome, and I love her haircut. You know, I really love Mills. I really love Sheriff Mills, and I look forward to the next time she's in an episode. And I'm kind of sad, because she was at Asylum 10 last year, and I didn't go, because by that point I was only up to season 3. She's going to the Salt and Burn convention in Liverpool this year, and I think they've made her UK exclusive. Or is that Elena? One of them is UK exclusive, so there is no way they'll come to this convention this year, and I think it might be both of them. I'm not sure, but we'll see. But I can't afford to go to any more conventions. They've literally... And my star rating is 4 out of 5, because it wasn't like the most perfect episode ever, but it also wasn't terrible. So there you go. Wow, this is a really, 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 really short review in comparison. Okay, when I'm talking right now, this is about 15 minutes and 20 seconds. And usually I talk for about 21 minutes and it gets cut down to about 17. So this is kind of mental. I think it was just because I haven't spoken. I haven't watched it today, I watched it yesterday. And also I just didn't really write much. Next week is Bloodlines, the pilot, and I wasn't really sure what to think about, you know, when they were sort of summarising it and trying to pitch it to the fans. I wasn't really sure, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to like this. But now, as I've been, you know, as I've seen this new stills, and also as I've seen the the little promotional video, I'm actually more excited for it now. It looks a lot better than I thought it would, and I just think it's really strange because we've got one of our own. We've got Lucian Viscount. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name, but he is a English actor who was in Waterloo Road, and unfortunately that means that I only ever see him as the one who shagged the teacher. So hopefully by next week, that, you know, that name I have for him will have changed, because I don't want to be watching Supernatural Bloodlines thinking he is the guy who shagged the teacher, and now he's randomly gone to America and become American. I hope you enjoyed this episode too, and I hope you stay tuned and, you know, watch my review next week and keep up to date with all my Asylum 12 stuff going on and blah 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 blah. So yeah, if you like this, then you know, share it, like it, comment, subscribe. If you disagree with anything I said, then comment below. You know, if you just want to be my friend, then you can follow me on Twitter at CastielMoose, or on Tumblr as Padalucky's $7 neck pillow. Yeah.